The Kingsport Cases, from the very beginning, was destined to have an unusual art style. Early on in the development process, we decided to go for a non-photorealistic feel because we felt that attempting photorealism was a bit risky for our small development team. That raised a problem, though. How do you keep things immersive and scary when you can't use photorealism? For us, the answer lies in a mixed art style. On the one hand, we're outlining everything in black to make objects pop, and on the other, we've decided to use realistic shading within those outlines. That left us with this, which you might have seen in all of our screenshot posts on Reddit. We are using several relatively realism-oriented techniques for rendering, along with the outline shader, to make things pop in a way that's not usually seen in horror games. This combination sat best with us after trying everything from pure cell shading to purely realistic rendering. It gives the Kingsport Cases a unique feel without sacrificing its immersion, and makes building models faster, which is always a plus, especially when the goal is to have a large enough number of objects in the world that the player doesn't see the same things over and over again. But that leaves a question: what do you do about characters? NPCs are a major focus in our game, so we need to be careful to make them visually distinct and interesting, while at the same time making them simple enough that they didn't take an inordinate amount of time to model and texture. To that end, as with any major artistic choice, we did lots of revisions. We started with something like this. As you can see, it's a little horrifying. The goal was to make it relatively dark and keep its proportions weird enough to avoid the uncanny valley, which is the point at which something is close enough to being human that it's unsettling, but not close enough that it actually looks human. And we did all of this while painting on a texture in a way that would be characteristic of a much more realistic game. Our next ideas converged slowly towards more realistic proportions. Again, though, it looked somehow indescribably wrong. Our characters are meant to emphasize the unease of the universe, but they don't need to be monsters themselves. And they didn't look like the sorts of people you'd ever want to talk to. From there, we did another round, we tweaked the proportions a little bit more, and came up with what looks like our archetypal character. As far as we can tell right now, this is going to be what the people of the Kingsport Cases are going to look like. And that's our art style in a nutshell. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week to talk about how we're making these characters